In our lives, sometimes we meet people who, like insidious snakes from ancient parables, intentionally sow discord and provoke conflicts that are invisible for that reason. They are constantly pursuing us, as if they were lighters, only because they are not able to bring out the radiance of our soul. In front of such ungrateful people, many of us get lost and are asked the eternal question of how to withstand their constant attacks and maintain the spiritual balance. The answer to this question is given to us by the wisdom of Stoicism from the ancient philosophers of the Stoics. Born in ancient Greece, the school of Stoic thought preached the ideals of inner harmony and indifference of the spirit to any life difficulties. Its founder Zenon and his followers, such as Seneca, Epictetus and Mark Aurelius, left behind a rich philosophical legacy that has not lost its relevance to this day. The Stoics taught us to focus our attention on what is under our control and to accept what does not depend on us with dignity. Following their wise advice, we will discover for ourselves 9 effective strategies of cohesion with the opponents, without resorting to open confrontation. The first strategy: keep calm and clear mind. When we face hostility and provocations, our first reaction is to respond with the same or succumb to emotions. Anger, resentment, a desire to prove one's rightness, mislead the mind and push us to unthoughtful actions. But as the Stoics teach, the loss of self-control only plays into the hands of our ill-wishers. After all, this is what they are trying to achieve: to bring us out of balance, to make us dance under their tutelage. Instead of walking with them on a leash, we should take a deep breath. To get away from the situation and try to look at it from the outside without prejudice and judgment. Ask yourself questions. Do the words of this person really matter? Do they carry at least a drop of truth? Is he worthy of my thoughts and feelings to be in his power? Try to relate to what is happening with a share of humor and healthy irony. Ask yourself, will this quarrel matter in a week, a month, a year? Perhaps, if you look at the situation through the prism of eternity, it will seem to be a completely insignificant episode of an unsuitable egg. As Epictetus said, we are not upset by things themselves, but by the way we look at them. Realizing that our emotional reactions are the result of our actions. Realizing that our emotional reactions are the result of our actions. Realizing that our emotional reactions are the result of our own judgments, we procure power over them. We understand that no one can offend us without our agreement, consciously cultivating indignation of mind even before the face of self-indulgence. We call on our superiority and deprive the enemy of the principal weapon. With GOG we show we are not allowed to manipulate ourselves, that there is no provocation capable of women to shake our inner core. Keeping calm and clarity of mind in any situation, we gain genuine freedom and the power of the spirit. We rise above the small shivers, saving energy for what is really important. So the next time they try to get you out of yourself, remember the advice of the Stoics. And smile with the indifference of Buddha, your peace will not disturb them. Strategy number 2, do not take into account. Often the negative coming from other people is caused by their own internal problems, complexes and dissatisfaction, and has little to do with ourselves. Perhaps we are being tempted out of envy to our success or talents. Or we just got under the hot hand of a person who was in a bad mood. Understanding this fact will allow us not to get into the destructive games and not to spend our soul on those who do not deserve it. Instead of taking criticism or rudeness close to the heart, ask yourself, can the opinion of this person serve as an adequate assessment of my personality? How objective and fair is his statement? Most likely, your sober analysis will show that the matter is not in your real or imaginary shortcomings, but in projections and internal contradictions of your offender. Do you remember the wise words of Mark Aurelius? If someone causes you evil, do not revenge, but think about what made him do so. Such an attitude displaces the focus on his fruitless offense and self-accusation into an attempt to understand the true motives of another person and the nature of interpersonal conflicts as a whole. It allows us to look at the situation from a more objective and unobtrusive point of view. Not giving in to the devil's tricks. And do not make hasty conclusions. Of course, this does not mean that you need to ruthlessly demolish any mockery and attacks, justifying the aggressor by his internal problems. We are talking about not allowing someone else's negativity to penetrate into the holy of holies of our soul, to hurt our feelings of our own dignity and to determine our self-relationship. After all, our self-esteem and the feeling of inner value should not suffer from someone else's subjective and often biased judgments. So, next time you encounter negativity in your life, ask yourself a simple question. How competent is this person to assess your personality? Do you really respect his opinion and listen to his advice in other areas? If not, then you should not give his words more importance than they deserve. Keep your inner balance and remember that only you are free to decide where other people's opinions in your picture of the world and how much they can influence your life. Thirdly, focus on your goals and values. In the whirlwind of everyday worries and petty jolts, we sometimes forget what is really important. Other people's pranks distract us from our aspirations, they stir up the inner core. But when we clearly realize our life priorities and follow them, the petty injections and reproaches of our enemies lose their power over us. Take the rule to regularly devote time to reflection and self-analysis. Think about it. What values and principles determine your personality? What are your goals? What makes your life meaningful and full of energy? Perhaps it is love and self-realization, creativity and knowledge, service to people or spiritual search. Having determined your true priorities, write them down and read them regularly, especially in the moments of doubt and confusion. Let them become your inner compass and support. Instead of wasting your energy on fruitless temptations, direct them to self-development, learning, improving skills. Give more time to your favorite hobbies, communication with dear people, realizing your purpose. As Epictetus said, there is only one good in the world that cannot be taken away from us. It is freedom to direct your thoughts and actions. By focusing on the fact that you truly value yourself personally, you will gain inner strength and self-confidence. And then no attacks will be able to take you out of balance and prevent you from going to your dream. So be brave to follow your guiding star, regardless of the views and judgments of skeptics. As Mark Aurelius said, let it not bother you that others do not approve the path chosen by you. Go your own way and do not look back. In the end, this is yours and only your life. And it is up to you to decide how to dispose of your time and talents. Fourth, cultivate compassion and understanding. In the heat of confrontation, we tend to demonize our opponents, attribute to them all kinds of vices and malice. But if you think about it, for external aggression and hostility often hide alienated self-love, deep fears or unsatisfied needs. Even the most unpleasant scum is the same person as we are, with our spiritual wounds, our desires and delusions. Try to put yourself in the shoes of your enemy, understand the true motives of his behavior. Perhaps behind the mask of the despicable all-knowing hides a complex person with a low self-esteem. Behind the sharpness and tactlessness, the fear of one's own vulnerability and inability to build relationships. Behind the addictive outbursts, the bitterness of one's own failures and unrealizations. Having understood the true roots of the problem, you will stop taking aggression at your own expense and will find the key to its neutralization. How does Stoicism teach us? Behind the masks and roles that people try on in life, hide suffering souls yearning for love and understanding. Try to look at it in your enemy and your heart will soften. Perhaps he himself desperately lacks participation, support and a sense of his own dignity. As the saying goes, whoever has done a good deed, let him be silent, whoever has received, let him speak. By showing compassion and generosity to those who cause us pain, we not only heal our own soul, but also help others to remember their true human nature. By showing wisdom and tact even in a conflict situation, you will not only disarm your enemy, but also give him the opportunity to reveal the best sides of his nature. As Dalai Lama said, by showing compassion to others, you gain strength, and by showing it to yourself, you gain wisdom. By learning to recognize the wounded human soul for external negativities, we will develop in ourselves priceless qualities of empathy, penetrating and hardiness. The fifth strategy is not to go down to the level of others. By conflicting with those who do not like us, we risk imperceptibly understanding their destructive behavior models. In the heat of the struggle, the border between good and evil is blurred, and we ourselves no longer notice how we switch to the personality we poison and manipulate. The temptation to call black and white and respond to aggression with aggression is sometimes very great, especially if it seems to us that we are in this way defending our right or restoring justice. So, by entering into an open confrontation and using someone else's weapon, we involuntarily begin to play by the imposed rules and think in the categories of the opponent. We lose moral superiority and tie up the clod and the rags in the swamp. Friedrich Nietzsche warned that those who fight monsters should be careful not to become a monster themselves. Responding to rudeness with rudeness, we are subdued by tantrums and scorn and imperceptibly poison our own soul. As the philosopher Stoic Epictetus said, remember that only your own opinion about insult can offend you. Therefore, when someone provokes you, know that this is your own idea that provoked you. After a regal points in tomboy broth, we are not satiated with coercion, but affordably stick to law, worthy of any attack, not losing self-control and sense of humor, we demonize the opponent. What were the Stoics taught? The best answer is injustice, riots of good deed, falsehood, truth, hatred, love. Meticulously acting to death with lengigo, we defend our borders by flying never unupstagely and without disconnection from evil appears to will, weakness on others complaining, weakness on blood, the people girl or the enemy unenlightened. But now we understand even bigger danger. If we defend our responsibilities fully and fully, whatever authority may throne us, according to which the six take lessons from any situation. Stoics urge to consider any life trials as an opportunity to sharpen your character and gain invaluable experience. 7. Encounters with ill-wishers are not an exception. Instead of regretting yourself or, again and again, thinking about the details of the offensive situation, try to make constructive conclusions from it. Consider any conflict as a training ground on which you hone your communicative skills and learn to control emotions. Analyze your reactions and behavior from the outside. Where and why did you lose self-control? What words or actions of your opponent led you out of balance and how can it be explained? Perhaps you react too painfully to criticism of some of your qualities. Or do you allow your self-confidence to rise above your mind? Listen to your feelings, anger, resentment, desire to justify yourself. What unworked internal conflicts and attitudes do they tell you? Healthy reflexes and self-analysis help us to better understand the situation. What words or actions of your opponent led you out of balance and how can it be explained? Where and when did you lose self-control? Message from your partner is someone to whom you feel comfortable and lets you relax and mentee. Who on look crazy with information and stop having. It's important to understand yourself and appreciate your personality, no matter how unfaithful someone may be. Because we overcome crisis in our relationship and get stuck in this level when we're preparing for an arising conflict. What affects us doesn't or divide us from others but above our lives and makes us stronger. This is what Friedrich Nietzsche only said. As Epictetus wrote, there is only one way to happiness, to stop worrying about things that are not subject to our will. How other people treat us and what emotions we experience in response, ultimately depends only on ourselves. We are not able to change the circumstances or the character of another person, but it is in our power to choose our attitude to what is happening. Remembering this, we will be able to keep the clarity of mind and optimism of the spirit even in the most difficult situations. The seventh strategy is to let go of negativity. Stuck in offense and constantly spinning in the head the cases of unfair treatment, we only multiply our own suffering and give power over those who are not worthy of it. Saving bitterness and anger in the soul, we become imperceptibly negative and delusional, even without realizing it. Offense, poison, which we drink ourselves, hoping that someone else will die from it. These words are attributed to Buddha. Gradually, all our perceptions are painted in gloomy colors. We become suspicious, abusive, waiting for a trick from each other. Destructive emotions literally devour us from within, suppress immunity, provoke psychosomatic ailments. The best thing we can do in such a situation is to let go of what has happened and practice the acceptance of the inevitable. Yes, we have been unfairly offended. Yes, we want to restore justice. But is it worth it to deprive ourselves of peace of mind and waste our energy? As the Stoics teach, true freedom begins when we consciously choose our reaction to circumstances, instead of blindly giving into it. We cannot control other people and change the past, but we are able to let go of our grievances and decide what to focus on here and now. Practice of awareness and relaxation will help us to free ourselves from unpleasant emotions and tension. By giving into an exciting matter, we will direct energy into a positive field. By forgiving the offender, we affirm our moral superiority and gain peace. To let go of negativity and live as a real bastard is a great art. But having mastered it, we will discover an inexhaustible source of inner strength and spiritual harmony. The past may remain in the past, but we will strive for the future with a light heart and a shining smile. 8. Surround yourself with positivity. When we are surrounded by loving and understanding people, we really gain an inexhaustible source of emotional support. In the atmosphere of unconditional acceptance and friendly participation, even the most painful blows of fate are easier to endure. By regularly communicating with wise mentors and inspiring like-minded people, we ourselves become stronger and more confident in ourselves. Try to spend more time with those who sincerely wish you good and are ready to support you in a difficult moment. Such people are a real treasure, and they are worth saving and valuing. They will not only support you in a difficult situation, but will also help you look at the problem from a new angle and find an extraordinary solution. Next to THM, we feel protected, understood and accepted as we are. It is no less important to be such a person for your friends and loved ones. Show sincere participation to them. Be ready to listen and support. Be able to rejoice in their success and to sympathize with their failures. True friendship is a street with two-way traffic, and the more warmth and care we give, the more we get back. Start new acquaintances among the life of joyful and passionate people who share your values and interests. Try to communicate more with those who inspire you, charge you with optimism and faith in yourself. They can be creative individuals, professionals, spiritual seekers, or just unusually kind and wise people. Learn from them to look at the world from different angles, to see beauty in simple things, to find opportunities where others see only obstacles. Visit clubs and festivals where the atmosphere of creativity and positivity reigns. Discover new hobbies and forms of leisure for yourself, which fill your life with joy and give it an additional meaning. Be it drawing, dancing, singing, handicrafts, cooking, or something else. The main thing is that this activity causes you unparalleled interest and delight. In the process of creativity, we disconnect from everyday worries, restore strength and gain inspiration. The ninth strategy: be generous. In the end, forgiveness and compassion are the most powerful weapons against hatred. After all, this is what every attacker longs for in the depths of his soul. To be understood and accepted, despite all his thorns and shortcomings. Even if it seems unthinkable to forgive your offender now, try to let go of the negative over time and wish him good. Remember the words of Seneca: forgive many things to others, but nothing to yourself. By sincerely forgiving another person, we thus free not only him from toxic emotions, but also ourselves. And by practicing conscious compassion and generosity, we are gradually changing not only individual relationships, but also the whole world around us for the better. After all, a negative relationship produces a response to negativity, and kindness and acceptance spread around one another and creates an atmosphere of mutual understanding and love. And so, facing envy and unreasonable hostility, we will always be able to find a point of support in our values, inner strength and wisdom of the great teachers of mankind. By consciously applying strategies of cohabitation with negativity, we will not only protect ourselves from unnecessary suffering, but we will also come out of any experience with renewed and enriched invaluable life experience. And let our indescribable radiance illuminate this world in spite of all the discontents and curses of the unkind. After all, in the end, each of us is given his or her own trials and his or her own unique mission. In spite of all the difficulties, doubts and obstacles, we must go our own way, without betraying our sacred essence. According to Hermann Hesse, your soul is a whole world, mysterious, rich and eternal, and in this world you are the only inhabitant. So be worthy masters of this priceless world, preserving its beauty and understanding its secrets. And may in the strangeness of life your unchanging companions be love, faith in themselves and an unbending will to perfection. If you found the video useful, like and subscribe to the Stoicism Wisdom channel so as not to miss new episodes about Stoicism philosophy. I wish you wisdom, indifference and peace of mind. See you soon.